This is the Manga Xanadu Manga Dome podcast. I am your host, Laurie Henderson. Join me on this journey into the world of manga, where a river of reviews flow through caverns of commentary down into the latest news. Welcome to the Manga Dome. Episode 25, Cross Manage. The Weekly Wish List. This is a new segment I'm going to try and see how it works. This might not happen every week, as it depends on what's coming out. For the week of September 24th, 2013, there are a couple of titles I read and want to read. Sherlock Bones Volume 1 from Kodansha is finally released this week. I've been waiting for this title ever since it was announced back in February, and maybe even before that. Cute puppies and mysteries are two things you can't go wrong with. Though if it was a cat, I would probably like it even more. Tropic of the Sea is from Vertical and is by Satoshi Kon, who is best known for his work in anime. It's a supernatural mystery and sounded interesting when it was announced. Uku, the Inner Chamber Volume 8 is out from Viz Media. Even though I haven't kept up with reading the volumes as they come out, I love the ones I read. I discovered this series thanks to the Manga Movable Feast, and it has become a must-have. Finally, Yen Press releases Volume 5 of A Bride Story. I thought I would like this title when I first heard about it, but nothing prepared me for how much the anthropologist in me fell in love with it. It is an absolute must-buy as well. New manga at Viz.com. There was no top 10 this week, so I'll just jump into the new manga debuting on the site this week. Baby and Me is an 18-volume shoujo series that was one of the debut titles in Shoujo Beat magazine. It's about elementary school boy Takya, who has to take care of his baby brother Minoru after their mother dies in a car accident and his father has to work long hours as a salaryman. There are a lot of adjustments for this family of men to make with the mother gone, especially for Takya, who has to take on many of the roles of cooking, cleaning, and caring for Minoru. It's sometimes funny, sometimes heartwarming, sometimes heartbreaking, but always entertaining series. I didn't like it much at first, but I think it was because it hit too many emotional buttons. It was the first series to bring me to tears. If you don't mind a bit of an emotional roller coaster ride, then definitely check this series out. Magic Touch has the dubious distinction of being named one of the worst manga ever written, at least according to many reviewers at the time. The Wikipedia article for this manga doesn't even have a synopsis of the series, just all of the bad reactions to it. It's a 9-volume series about Chiaki, a girl who goes to a massage school and wants to give one to Yosuke, a boy who is completely out of her league. Yosuke agrees, but only if she can make him fall in love with her. I never read more than the preview of this title, mostly because of the poor reviews of it. It was one of those titles you read just to see how bad it really was, and I never knew anyone who came back and said otherwise. But it's by the creator of Ore-sama Teacher, a title that is popular, so fans of that series may want to check out this earlier series, or if you're morbidly curious. Cross Manage Volumes 1 and 2. Sports manga hasn't really been my thing. I've tried various series, and while I've liked what I've read, none of the titles have grabbed me. That is, until Weekly Shonen Jump Alpha started Cross Manage. I was intrigued at first. A manga about lacrosse? I don't think there is a sport that manga hasn't covered, so a lacrosse manga isn't so surprising. What was surprising was that I was enjoying it from the very first chapter I read in Weekly Shonen Jump Alpha. Cross Manage is the first series by creator Kaito and is published by Viz Media. It is a sports manga and is rated for teens. It retails in print for $9.99 and $4.99 in digital at vizmanga.com. Tsunenori Sakurai is a second-year high school student with no direction. He has tried countless clubs, but he can't find one where he feels he can belong. Misora Toyoguchi is in the same class as Sakurai and loves lacrosse even though she's really bad at it. After seeing her practice on his way home several times, one day he sees her fall and rushes to her aid. He berates her for her not thinking things through, and in a moment of helplessness, she asks what she can do. Sakurai gives her some basic advice, which leads to her improving and believing he should be the manager of the girls' lacrosse team. A misplaced hand during a struggle to get his school bag back from her leads to Sakurai being blackmailed into becoming the manager. He resists at first, and the team doesn't accept him, but Toyoguchi's determination and enthusiasm wins both over, and they begin their long journey to become a successful lacrosse team. For a manga about a sport that most people don't know about or even heard about except through some scandal at an upper-class college, getting the reader interested in the characters is key to keeping them. Cross Manage does this right from the first chapter. I liked Sakurai almost immediately. He's almost like a lost puppy as he moves aimlessly from club to club trying to find a place he will fit in. His problem is, of course, that he really doesn't fit in anywhere but on the sports field. He is so competitive and has so much drive that he forgets sometimes how to relax and just have fun. He joins the Go and Shoji Club, attracted by the strategies, but becomes so wrapped up in it that he even alienates his friend who invited him to join, Toriumi, and has to remind himself to just have fun. Sakurai was a soccer player and a really good one until he injured his knee and couldn't play anymore. He tries to avoid any kind of sport and spends most of the first volume trying to avoid Hayami, the girl manager of the boys' soccer team. He is good-natured and a little introverted, mostly because of his injury. He gets nervous around girls for no other reason than they're girls. I like that he doesn't have some phobia or some other manga trope. He's just a teenage boy and his nervousness feels natural. This also makes his managing a girls' team a bit of a problem. Going into the locker room can be like taking his life into his own hands. But once he gets over them being girls and starts to see them more as athletes, he gets along better with them. Sakurai also has some really good friends at his side. Wakamoto is a very low-key, quiet guy who is also sensitive. He's in the literature club and always has his nose in a book. He also seems to sense when Sakurai needs a helpful push or to be left alone. He's not psychic or a meddler. He just seems to know what his friend needs and when he needs it. He pretty much hit it spot on about why Sakurai starts out helping the lacrosse team. I really liked Wakamoto. Seki is Sakurai's other friend. He's slightly denser and more physical of the three and is very loyal to Sakurai. When Toriumi crosses the line teasing Sakurai about managing the girls' team, Seki starts a fight with him. Both Wakamoto and Seki really care for Sakurai and want to see him doing things he enjoys. It's a great scene when Sakurai tells them that he's going to stop running away and become the manager of the girls' lacrosse team. It's one of the best scenes of the 2 volumes so far. Toyoguchi, the other lead of the series, is pretty much the exact opposite of Sakurai. She isn't good at any sport, or really much of anything. Ever since she was small, she didn't excel at anything, so she just accepted it and decided to have fun even if she couldn't succeed. Meeting Sakurai changes all of this. She doesn't accept his declaration that you can't have fun if you don't succeed. But when the team has their first match against a top-ranked school, experience their first game, and see what good players are really like, she wants to do more than just improve. She wants to succeed. Toyoguchi always has a dumb smile on her face, and her enthusiasm is infectious. Many of the girls who joined the lacrosse team did it because of Toyoguchi. She throws herself into whatever she's doing, whether it's practicing alone or trying to beat Sakurai at shogi to get him to be the manager. Even though this is a shonen series, Kaito throws in some hints of romance. Hayami really wants to be with Sakurai, but he doesn't seem interested in her that way. He seems more interested in Toyoguchi and sees a trip to the lacrosse equipment store almost like a date. Toyoguchi also seems oblivious to his interest, though she also seems oblivious that she might feel the same way as well. It's cute to watch them in their blushing moments. The girls of the team are a varied group, even if they seem stereotypical at first. The tough tomboy, the flirt, the ditz, the shy girl, the serious, studious girl, the big sister. These are all seen in manga titles again and again. The biggest surprise, and excuse the pun, is Rurie Tanaka, who is drawn almost like a gag manga character with a big round head, tiny eyes, and huge lips. But while she looks out of place with the rest of the team, she is the level-headed, steady girl of the team. After getting used to her looks, I really got to like her, as I did the rest of the team. Kaito does a good job of showing Sakurai as a manager, and how he takes what he learned in soccer to apply it to the girls' lacrosse team. He picks up very quickly on the girls' strengths and weaknesses, and does a good job of encouraging them. It's more the girls' own doubts that hold them back. 3 of the girls try to quit when they think that they aren't good enough or will be dead weight. But Sakurai is able to show them not only what their greatest skills are, but also that they are stronger than they thought. Finding Toyoguchi's strength was great and made for a good showstopper at the end of Volume 2 during their first tournament game. I really enjoyed these first 2 volumes of Cross Manage, but I did have one minor problem with them. It took me a while to put my finger on what it was. The story is moving at an odd pace. With such a large cast, I was expecting to get more time to get to know the girls on the team, many of which are only seen in group shots before jumping into the first tournament. But by the end of Volume 2, the girls are already playing their first game against a team about their level. It felt like it was too soon to be reaching what should be happening at about Volume 4 or 5. Sadly, of course, I know the reason for this. Cross Manage only got 5 volumes. Its last chapter ran in July, with the final volume to be released in November in Japan. This is really a shame. This is a sports manga I could really have gotten into. I love the characters, and while Kaito didn't spend a lot of time on the mechanics, there was a lot of throwing and catching of the ball, so it was fun to watch the games. I guess it really shows a difference in tastes between the US and Japan. I just hope the series ends well. Cross Manage is a delightful title with characters that will grow on you, making you want to keep reading about them. I'm really glad Viz chose this to be included in the weekly Shonen Jump magazine so we could read it. Do pick this one up, whether in print or in digital. It's really worth the time and money. I give Cross Manage Volumes 1 and 2 a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you for listening to the Manga Xanadu Manga Dome podcast. You can find links to the stories and books discussed here in the show notes at manga.jdragononline.com. You can email me with any questions at xanadu@jdragononline.com or leave a comment on this post. Rate me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter at Manga Xanadu, all one word. Until next time, farewell from the Manga Dome.